Harry's Wife, part 94.12. What's it like in her head? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As you know, I have used the prominent example of Harry's wife to enable you to understand more about narcissism and also why she does as she does, why she behaves in the manner that she does, to enable you to gain further insight. Harry's wife is reported on prominently, and she also ensures, through the assertion of control PR campaign, that nearly everything that she does is commented upon in some way. Reported, broadcast, advanced through the PR machinery. And therefore, we cannot, in effect, avoid her. The fact that she is such a Marmite personality, there are those that love her, and there are many that dislike her and even hate her. This means that invariably publications will get a lot of clicking and coverage if Harry's wife is mentioned. Hence, so many of them report about her. In other instances, as you know, her need for the prime aims has caused her to utilise the PR agencies to ensure that she keeps appearing in the press and is commented upon favourably. This means we have many examples of her behaviour which can be dissected to increase your understanding. I have used, as you know, newspaper reports, website reports, photographs and video footage to help you understand more about her behaviour. But I thought I would give you a glimpse of what it's like inside her head. What is she actually thinking? What's going through her mind? As I've explained, Harry's wife is a mid-range narcissist. That means she operates a facade. She operates a facade of believing herself to be a kind, helpful, and empathic person. She believes that she's a decent human being, and her narcissism shields her from the many contradictions in her behaviour. Her default setting is nothing is her fault. Where there is a criticism made of something that she has said or done, her narcissism will automatically, almost seamlessly, suggest to her an explanation, an excuse, or a reason that she will then trot out in order to remain unaccountable and thus nullify the potential threat to control posed by the criticism. So, for example, take the fact that she has been paid a lot of money, or will be paid a lot of money, by Spotify, but has generated very little in return so far. She experiences no guilt, because guilt is not something that she is afflicted by. Instead, when queried about why nothing has been delivered, she will explain that she's been busy being a mother, or that she's been on parental leave, and therefore it wasn't the time to produce something. There will be blame shifting. The material that the writers had created wasn't up to par. They've had some difficulties with the right producer. It will never be simply a case of a mea culpa from her accepting that she's at fault. There'll be an excuse, a reason, blaming either an event, an occurrence, or somebody else. Her narcissism will ensure that she maintains that mindset of she only ever does the right thing, and it's everybody else that causes the problem. In her head, she believes that she's truly special. Her narcissism causes her to believe that she is an exceptional human being, a humanitarian, an ambassador for the downtrodden, a brilliant mother, a wonderful wife, a caring sister, albeit the problems that have arisen in the family were not of her making. She experiences this delusion that she is this superhuman being, that everything that she touches turns to gold, and if it doesn't, of course, that's because somebody else messed it up. But she truly believes that she's special. She believes that her appearance in Suits made it a brilliant television program, even though she really was just one of the bit part actors in it. She also believes that Suits was world famous, that everybody knew about it, and therefore that's why the phrase Harry's wife, Suits actress, became indelibly linked. Most people had not even heard of the program, and certainly had not heard of her, until the fact that she became involved with Prince Harry. However, in her world, she's always believed that she's special. From the very beginning, her narcissism has caused her to believe that she is set apart from other individuals, that she is exceptional. This is why we get the various revisions of history, for example, about how the class project of writing to Procter & Gamble was solely her doing, that she was the one that instigated that. The various tales that have been doled out, for example, of clambering through the back of the car, which appears to be character trait acquisition from an advertisement which starred Catherine Zeta-Jones, causes her to believe that she actually did that. She doesn't sit there believing that she's telling a lie. Her narcissism causes her to believe that she actually did that. It actually occurred. Her narcissism has to make her believe that she's special, so that she can go around behaving in a sanctimonious, high-handed and arrogant fashion to assert control over people, to draw fuel from them, to garner further character traits and the associated residual benefits. I deserve to be paid this amount because I'm an exceptional voiceover artist. I deserve to be paid this amount because I'm a brilliant creative. The fact is that her track record shows that she's mediocre at best. But her narcissism will not allow her to see that. It will not allow her to see the disconnect between her actual ability and that which it causes her to believe that she has. Instead, she solely and truly believes that she's a brilliant actress, a fantastic author, that she could pen a screenplay and it would win an Oscar, that she is a decent and kind human being that engages in these acts of bananitarianism. She believes that she's able to do anything. She believes that she's a polymath, that no matter what she turns her hand to, she can do it, and not only be able to do it, but she'll do it well. The failures and the inability to see through projects just vanish. She doesn't think about them. She will not sit there and reflect upon the fact that she didn't get invited, for instance, to the Barmer birthday situation. She will not reflect upon the fact that the 40 by 40 scheme fell flat on its arse. Instead, if anyone wants to bring it up, her narcissism will defend her and cause her to think, well, it wasn't my fault. People are lazy and they didn't get involved. Or, I'm sure the invitation was sent, but something must have gone wrong with it. She believes that all men are attracted to her. She, when looking in the mirror, sees a stunning goddess. Whilst you wouldn't call her ugly, she's far from the most beautiful woman on the planet. There'll be those that would say that she's pretty enough, although there are others that suggest there's been extensive plastic surgery. And there are those that say that she has an unusual shaped figure, and she doesn't dress appropriately for it. But as objectively as one can, you would not describe her as ugly, but by the same token, you wouldn't describe her as stunning. Yet she believes that she is. The level of delusion that she operates under is that in her head, every man wants to fuck her. Every man believes that she's desirable and wants her. She is flirtatious in that way. We've seen this in the video footage, the overly tactile behaviours, the batting of the eyelashes, the too long stare, because she believes that anybody that she speaks to of the opposite sex immediately falls in love with her. She also assumes that all people admire her and want to be like her, that they look upon her and think, wow, isn't she brilliant? If only I could be like Harry's wife. Those that criticise her are immediately dismissed as ignorant haters who are envious of her success, that they want to be like her, But they can't, so instead, in order to mask their own shortcomings, they criticise her. She believes that her status and wealth has been earned. She subscribes heavily to the delusion that she is that strong and independent woman who has forged her own way to get to the pinnacle at which she finds herself. Although the evidence points to her reliance upon her father, upon Trevor Engelson, upon Prince Harry, her narcissism casts that to one side. She truly believes that she has earned where she's got to, and she deserves it. What of, say, on a day-to-day basis, though? What is going through her mind beyond all of those pervading mindsets that I've just described? Well, take, for example, it's a quiet day at the Monty Shit Show mansion. None of the 27,000 toilets are flushing. And let us say that Prince Harry is playing with Archie, throwing him up in the air as a father might do so and catching him, causing Archie to giggle in delight. Harry's wife is sat on the bench of stench observing this scene. Ordinarily, an individual with emotional empathy would be pleased to see the bond between father and son delighting himself, giggling, father beaming with pride as he watches his boy flying up and down through the air and catching him. But not Harry's wife. Because there's no need to maintain a facade, because there's no members of the public present, no members of the family, extended present, or friends, it's just her spouse, the intimate partner primary source, and her son, a non-intimate secondary source. The fact that the two of them are getting along so famously means that she, in her world, is being told that she doesn't exist. In her world, it causes her to believe that she's weak and unimportant, and that they are deliberately excluding her. In order to prevent that feeling from continuing, in order to prevent that emptiness from reaching up and consuming her, her narcissism steps inside and prompts her, unconsciously of course, to do something to bring the spotlight onto her. Accordingly, she would likely call out to Harry, "Don't do that, he doesn't like it," admonishing him with a short burst of devaluation. Notwithstanding the evidence to the contrary, that Archie's giggling his head off as he's thrown through the air, she has to admonish Prince Harry, and that her narcissism tells her that Archie isn't enjoying it, and what Prince Harry is doing is wrong. This, of course, will cause Prince Harry to respond to her, either saying, "Oh, sorry," if he's suitably cowed and thus stopping the behaviour, which means because he's done something in reaction to her, he's demonstrated that he's under control, and his response has provided fuel. If, however, he were to respond along the lines of, "Nonsense, look, he's enjoying it, he's laughing his head off," then her narcissism would cause her to have to intervene further. She could deny that he's enjoying himself, causing that dissonance for Prince Harry as he sees his son laughing, but his wife saying that his son isn't enjoying it. Harry wondering, why is she saying this when I can see that my son's enjoying himself? And the reason is that in her world, her narcissism is telling her that Archie is not enjoying it in order to motivate her through her false cognitive empathy to look after him and thus intervene in the scene, making it about her. That is just one of countless examples where she will repeatedly feel that she's on the periphery, that she's unimportant, unwanted, weak, and vulnerable. And as soon as that feeling starts to rise, her narcissism will step in, causing her to act in a particular way, perhaps by upbraiding a member of the staff, by usually devaluing Harry, by perhaps doing something which causes him to react in order to draw that fuel and ensure that the control is asserted. Although on the face of it, it may seem that she has an enviable lifestyle, a mansion that she lives in, millions in the bank, infamy or fame, whichever way you look at it, access to opportunity, still a number of people fawning over her, exclusive opportunity to involve herself with well-known and famous and capable people. Yet, behind all of that, there is no contentment. Each and every day, she will experience a restlessness, but she doesn't know what it is. She will be sat there watching the envy rising as she sees Harry involved with the children. When other people are talking to him and not her, again the envy rises. Her paranoia causes her to check social media to see what's being said about her. She will demand that she's kept up to date upon press briefings, and, for instance, when she sees the nemesis, Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, appearing and being praised, this will, of course, cause her to feel vulnerable, unimportant, and the chasm of emptiness start to make its presence felt. Her narcissism will once again leap into action, causing her to either make a remark to Harry about Kate or to some underling in order to assert control indirectly, driven by the envy. Or it will cause her to remain in a position of withdrawal, dismissing her, seething about her, wanting to gouge her eyes out, wishing 1,000 plagues upon the house of Cambridge. Where she sees the approval of the things that she does, that will receive a satisfactory nod. Entitled, she believes that everybody should be praising her as a fashion icon, that everybody should be praising her for her bananitarian efforts, and when she reads of those coming from the suitable marshmallow supine publications, such as Hello, Town and Country, People.com, Tatler, Harper's Bazaar, etc., that will of course provide her with fuel. They are under control, and she will draw a sense of importance from it, noting that they are entirely accurate and they know what they're writing about. Wherever she sees criticism about her, be it somebody's YouTube video, an adverse comment in the press that's brought to her attention, that of course threatens control, and it isn't her modus operandi, most of the time, to assert control directly, although sometimes she will do so through legal action or raising a complaint. More usually, her narcissism, through a variety of negative emotions, will cause her to assert control indirectly or stay in a position of withdrawal. She has a nagging itch, which is her narcissism, seeking to fight against each and every day's repeated threats to her sense of control. The emptiness is there beneath, occasionally making its presence felt as fuel dips. When she's wounded or challenged, the fuel drops further, and that yawning chasm of emptiness makes its presence felt. She doesn't know what it is, but she gains that sense of unease, a sense of weakness, a sense of doom that's impending. This is what she has to deal with, the constant flux between feeling powerful as she's well fueled and then feeling weakened and vulnerable when those fuel levels drop as a consequence of threats to control that occur. This is her fate, and it is endless. She operates in this bubble of delusion, believing herself to be fantastic, special, and amazing, as I've described. She cannot ever countenance any form of criticism, automatically dismissing it, guided by her narcissism. And, behind it all, are the various sensations and thoughts generated by her narcissism: envy, contempt, hatred, infatuation, whatever they might be, as they cause her to pursue the prime aims. This is but a glimpse into the mind of Harry's wife, so you understand what it's like in her head, and, by comparison, what it's like in the head of the mid-range narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.